etc.
Yes.
There are people who suggest that if you aren't guilty of murder, you're certainly guilty of abuse, spousal abuse, and that America should turn its back on you because of that.
Well, I think we're looking at pretty much the same, we go to the same thing about this verdict. In 1989, I was involved in an argument that got physical in my home. I feel I was wrong. I feel I should have handled the situation a lot better. I didn't make any excuses. I went through the legal system. I made no excuses there. They gave me, I guess, a fine or penalty. I had to do community service. I did it all. My wife and I, at that time, went on with our life. We had a very close relationship. We talked about it. We went to therapy together. We went to therapy away from one another because it was a very traumatic incident in our lives for us. I paid my dues for whatever that crime was. If it was a crime, I paid my dues. I've gone on with my life. What I want to know is, I saw a group a week or so ago.
I tell you what, I tell you what, I want you to get the story in, and I want to continue on that same line, but rather than interrupt you in the middle, we're going to take a break and we'll come back.
Okay.
Back in just a moment. Back with more with O.J. Simpson. Mr. Simpson, we were talking about the problems that you and your wife had at one time, abuse. You were telling us that it was a one-time incident and you all went to therapy, you paid for therapy, you tried to work this out. Part of the confusion comes in the things that were brought out by the media, and perhaps you'd like to explain this, the things found in a safety deposit box, the letters she had written, the concern that she had told to friends about abusive relationships, etc., etc.
Well, one, I can't really talk about evidence in the case because I'm on a contract with the people that I did the video with, and of course I'm in a deposition, but I'll try to talk as much as I can around this particular issue. I think you have to look very closely at the people who claim these things were said. And also, I think you have to, when the time comes, hopefully in this trial, this alleged diary, I think you're going to be real surprised to see what it really was and what it really is, and it was, not exactly what the press has purported it to be. I can say this, and I hope Tony Hoffman, who did this video, will forgive me for this little bit that I have, that I might say that's on the video. After the '89 incident, I think it's pretty clear, and everything that Nicole may have stated in our divorce decree, what she might have stated even during an argument we had in 1993, that O.J. has never touched me since that time. I think it's very clear that when Nicole and I was apart, that when she had some very emotional issues with the men that she was involved with, she came to me. I don't think a woman would do that if she felt that this person was insensitive or abusive, and certainly not jealous or possessive. If even when we were divorced and apart, that when she had personal problems, she came to me, and these are all very provable things that you will be hearing about in this.
And so all of the things that we've heard about you stalking and intimidating, all of those things you say are incorrect?
Totally BS. And once again, on this video, you will hear that. I don't want to be hawking the video.
I tell you what, though. Let me stay with the video for a moment.
Yes.
Then. I tell you what bothers some people, Mr. Simpson.
Yes.
And I wanted to save this for later, but since we're here, people will say to you, if you're innocent, and indeed you want to tell your story, why do I have to pay $29 to hear it?
Well, one, because at one point I couldn't speak. I wanted to speak on NBC. And that is the only aborted interview I've ever done.
Right.
I mean, I ever was involved in. I hear the press say, well, every member of the press, the legitimate press, they've all said, well, he's backed out of two. CNN will tell you that I'd never negotiated with any person at CNN to do an interview. I spoke with Greta Van Susteren, a person I have a lot of respect for, and I said, when the day comes that I could speak on the record about everything that's in all the evidence and everything that's in this case, that because of my respect for her and her respect for the Constitution, I would sit down with her and do that. But I've reached a point where I have to support my family. I have to send a check each month for my kids. I'm the sole supporter of my kids. Hopefully, in the not-too-distant future, I'll be supporting them at my home. But to this day, I'm the sole supporter of my kids. I hope to be able to send them to college one day. There are people out there that don't want me to earn a living in any way, shape, or form. They want to run, I don't know where they want to run me to, but I'm an American. This is my country. I think I've been a good American. I'm just as innocent as any of them. I should have the right to support my family and earn a living, and they have been blocking me or attempting to block me in every other avenue, every legitimate avenue that I have attempted to go down. And this was an opportunity that was presented to me. And if you want to hear it, you buy it. If you don't want to hear it, don't buy it.
For a man who crafted an image, and you said earlier that you really negotiated your deals, you crafted, whether it was with you from your USC days and it went on, or whether it was partly Hollywood, because we are here in the land of dreams and visions, you crafted an all-American image for yourself. So you're very image conscious. So in saying that, I would think, as you look at, for instance, the things that you have been criticized, and you say you want the opportunity, so let's deal with some of those. The homecoming party. The idea that the first attempt was pay-per-view. You were going to speak out in pay-per-view.
Wait. Let's just get one thing straight.
All right.
Where is it that my first attempt? My first attempt was NBC. That was my first attempt, NBC. And I was spoke on NBC, but I had for the first time, or just about the first time, in the 16-month ordeal that I went to, that all of my lawyers were unanimous for the first time on one thing. Not only my lawyers, but my new lawyers who were coming into the case, that, O.J., you should not do this. They were concerned about a lot of things. One of the main things that Johnny Cochran was concerned about is the fact that I had gone 16 months taking sleeping pills every night. I was coming down from that I really hadn't had time to adjust. My new lawyers, Bob Baker and Phil Baker, they felt that they would prefer to have time with me, to talk to me, to explain to me what might be problems in the upcoming civil litigation. And until they did that and had time to look at the evidence in this case, because they had followed it, but, you know, they had their own, I guess they had their own, you know, cases that they were doing. They weren't that totally up on it. But let's take some time. Let's understand what we're facing in the future before you go on TV to speak. Even F. Lee Bailey, who wanted me to speak from day one, came on board and said, O.J., you shouldn't do this at this time. And that's why I didn't do it at that time.
But I'm hearing people who were in your corner from day one say to me, I do have a problem with him selling pictures to the star, having that party. Maybe he should have just come home and been quiet. I'm not going to talk about the party,
but I hope, Ed, that I get a chance to sit down with you after the video is out, and then we'll talk about that party, that alleged party.
Well, stay with me on that party, the alleged party, because that had nothing to do with the trial. The trial was over. You were a free man at that point.
Ed, when you see the video, I'll come back on your show, and we'll talk about that alleged party. I explained that entire thing, and I think it's quite reasonable what took place then.
Fred Goldman says this week that you won't look him in the eye during the deposition that you're giving.